Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to. Wow, my goodness gracious, man, what a stumble here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Disjunct Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
There we go. Now I know where I am. I was totally confused at it for the first 2 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the now con-crud free Zealeus.
Yes. Nope. I'm in a happy position of life. A week, I guess, and a half removed. So yes, all is well and copacetic in the world of my lungs.
Very good, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Night Hangouts, a weekly live show where we try our best to cover the topics that are most important to you during the show. If you haven't submitted your topic, question, etc. at this point, have no fear. At any time during the show, you could drop a question or comment, or hell, just add to the conversation by just dropping those thoughts into the chat. If we do, unfortunately, run out of time for topics or questions, they will be added to the next week's show. So, without further ado, let us jump into it. And the first...
I'm not jumping. I'm sitting, sir.
Fine. Whatever you need to do, Zealeus. The first thing that... the first topic on our to-do list is the fact that it's some happy news and some sad news. Or some frustrating news, maybe.
I'm very confused. Which is it?
It should. It's both? Maybe. I don't know. So, there has been a Namco Bandai has announced that they're going to release a remastered edition of Tales of Symphonia, which is a phenomenal game. And to much applause and everything, it's going to be on the PlayStation 4, it's coming on the Xbox One, and of course it's going to the Switch. For those of you who don't know, Tales of Symphonia was this amazing game that I don't know if it all... I don't think it was like the game that saved the GameCube, but it sure as hell kept the GameCube afloat when it was released. I think it was... Oh, gosh. Let's see. GameCube was what? 20 years ago? No? Is that right? Many years ago. Anyways, so Tales of Symphonia Remastered announcement. Everyone goes, hooray!
Hooray!
And then
there's more.
And then Bandai Namco goes, oh, and by the way, we've locked it at 30 frames a second.
Huh?
Exactly.
I will say, I already have it on my PC. I never actually played it, but I bought it for the PC version a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I really have nothing else to add.
No,
other than it's interesting that it's coming to the consoles now.
Yep.
When there's been the PC port for at least a couple of years now.
Right, but so here's the thing. In my mind, when I think remastered, I think that okay, for me, remastered means you're basically adding polish to the game.
Kind of like Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah. Like
they didn't change the game; they just made it look snazzier, which is really all people needed or wanted.
And that's exactly. So when Tales of Symphonia remastered, everyone's going, yes! Because here's the kicker. On the GameCube, 20 years ago, it ran at 60 frames per second. On the GameCube. And now you're telling me 20 years into the future of its first release, where you're going to put it onto the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Switch, 3 devices that are very capable of running games at 60 frames per second, you're locking in at 30.
And it was released, by the way, on the PC 2016.
So that was what, 6 years ago?
Yes. Like, I don't get it. Like, I understand, like, if you're not going to improve certain assets and parts of the games.
Right.
But, like, why put a... I guess maybe I understand, but from a developer perspective, how does putting a cap on FPS help at all?
Especially on those consoles. Like I don't know. I mean, if you like re-released it on like a retro arcade, like plug it into your TV, it comes preloaded with games. Sure, yeah, 30 frames per second. Okay.
Like, the PS5 and the Xbox One aren't going to be able to run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that is odd. I agree.
Yeah, the PlayStation and the Xbox are like, dude,
Oh God.
60 frames a second for this game would have been nothing. So I am I mean, it's to me it seems really stupid. Yeah, it seems really stupid. But what do I know? I mean, but from my understanding, from what I've seen around the internet, I am not alone in my thought of it being absolutely stupid for it to be locked at 30 frames per second.
I'd be really curious to hear what their rationale is.
And I'm sure that because of the amount of backlash that they've gotten, they're going to have to say something. I mean, they don't have to, but
I guess my one question I would have is, if they had not announced the cap at 30 frames per second, what percentage of gamers would actually notice a cap? I'm willing to wager a small percentage.
It probably would be a very small percentage. But then you'd probably also, I think they went ahead and said that there was a cap simply because there are those people who literally, try to see the frames per second that goes, and they didn't want it to be a surprise, but I mean,
I guess I don't know why there'd be a cap, but I would also say from a gameplay and even graphics perspective, all that fun stuff, probably not going to be incredibly noticeable over versus being uncapped for most gamers. That's just kind of my opinion. Doesn't make it right, but I also doubt most people would notice.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully there's more to the story. Hopefully they come out and they explain their weird ass rationale behind it.
And so they could give you the remastered ×2, because 30 times 2 is 60 frames per second, for an additional remaster for another $40.
If you slap two consoles together, you get the real deal. No.
RAID 1 consoles.
Anyways, so
back when you used to daisy chain the old school PS3s together to create like a supercomputer, you do the same thing.
I think that's what the Air Force did until Sony removed the dual boot option.
Yeah, it was the old Linux. Like they took the PS3 with the OG Linux boot and totally did that.
I still have that. I mean, of course, the patches removed the ability, but I have like the OG PlayStation 3 that has the chip, the actual chip in there for emulation. There's no software emulation; it's hardware emulation, baby.
You could probably find like a hacked ROM to get the old school Linux version back.
Oh yeah, no. There's a homebrew patch that will allow you to regain that ability. Now,
that could be your work from home Linux box.
I really don't need a work from home Linux box right now, but you never know. I mean,
you never knew. With the Air Force calls, you too can join the Master PS3 Hive Mind.
Yes, sure.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, so, I mean, we'll see. I was excited to see Tales of Symphonia get a remaster, but at 30 frames per second, whatever. It kind of deflated that balloon.
I'll be more curious to see how improved from a asset perspective is it actually over the OG version.
Right.
Or is it just the PC version literally just re-released?
I bet you the PC version runs at 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I was trying to do a quick look. I couldn't find anything quickly, but that'd be a curious thing to see later.
I think, depending on your graphics card, can't you toggle on the FPSs?
Yes. No, because on Steam Overlay with the Steam, you can just have the FPS overlay.
I'm really sure that the PC version has the 60 frames.
Yeah. I don't know if any developers really cap the PC version. That'd be kind of silly.
You never know. Crazier things have happened, right?
You mean like capping the next gen consoles at 30 frames per second?
Yep, exactly. Yep. capping re-release of a game that's 20 years old at 30 frames per second.
Oh well.
Anyways, okay, so to go from potentially exciting and then deflating news, let's go to something that's actually, in my mind, awesome, pretty cool, and I'm a little bit surprised that this company would do it, and that is that EA has announced that on October the 18th, The Sims #4, a franchise that's been around, the Sims franchise been around for, 20 years. Ha! The same amount as Tales of Symphonia.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. They are starting October 18th. The base game for The Sims 4 will be free. Now, of course, all of the expansions you still have to buy. But if you already own the Sims 4 before October 17th, you will get, I believe you'll get something. You'll get a little gift if you, of course, have it through EA's special little, Steam world. I can't remember what it's called. EA Play, I think it's called. If you have The Sims 4 through EA Play, either as the regular member or the premium member, then you get additional stuff as well.
Huh. Sims just never appealed to me. I don't know. Like, I've never played any of the Simses, and I've just never really had a desire to, I guess. So
well, it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely, it's not for everyone, but at the same time, the formula has been very successful for,
well, no, obviously for EA,
yeah.
I get it. And it will obviously bring in new customers,
yep,
new microtransaction-based opportunity, because that's what it's all about, is the pretty little nuggets that come in on a regular basis. So it totally makes sense.
Right.
Bring in new gamers, so sure.
And I mean, and the other thing is, like, I think if I read the website correctly, there are 12 expansions, and those expansions each cost, at this very moment, they cost $39.99. Now, I don't know if the pricing will change once the base model goes free. But my guess is that probably to really get things going, I bet you that there's going to be like a discount for the first week to really get you locked into The Sims 4. I've played The Sims. I've played a couple iterations of The Sims. I don't know. For me, I'm just not that interested in trying to control someone's everyday life. I have enough trouble trying to remember what I eat personally for breakfast, and remembering, to what I need to do that you have to control your Sims to do, like shower, be social, eat, sleep, all that jazz. I don't need to try to control my life and someone else's life. So what I usually did when I got the itch to play The Sims is I usually would start a new neighborhood. I would build a bunch of houses. I would populate it with a bunch of people, and then I would kind of just watch.
So I'm hearing is it's families for people either who don't have a family like me, or people with shitty families who want to give a better familiar experience.
Exactly. If you want to raise your children digitally without all the mess, but still have to take a shit ton of time, but it is accelerated, so your kid does grow up a lot faster than he would in real life.
In the bright side, if you become a total screw up, you can just restart from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. You could restart from scratch, or you can just move to another house next door, start all over again, so kind of from scratch, but still deal with your messed up old life.
That's too much like real life. That's like straight out of the OC.
But that's really what happens, But I mean, that's. They're actually going to host like a huge event. I think it's actually on the 18th. They're going to host an event on their YouTube and Twitch channel where they're going to not only, of course, yay, hooray, let's celebrate that The Sims 4 is free, but they're also going to highlight what they've got planned next.
So does that make you want to jump into The Sims now? Again?
If I have the time, I think that I would end up just like building the houses again. I don't think that I actually would play, what people would consider the core of the game. Now,
sorry.
Yeah, go for it, Zealeus.
I hate the term free to play. Games are not free to play. They may be free to install and free to launch.
Yes.
But thereafter, oh dear God, are they not free to actually play the entirety of the game?
Well, it depends on what your definition of free is. If you're taking monetary, then there is a small bit of actual free, but then you also have to think about like time sink. And this is a game that you could sink some serious time into.
True.
But this is actually a great example of a company understanding that not everyone is going to play the game the same way. There are certain developers out there that get up all in their feelings when someone doesn't play the game the way that they envisioned them playing it. Literally, you're given the keys to the kingdom, the sandbox. You can be that masochistic asshole who traps the Sims in their houses and then burn them to the ground. I mean, you could do that. You could get them in the swim pool and then remove the ladder. Are
you actually giving EA props about a game?
I'm just saying. This is why I said this is so weird.
Something is broken. Are you okay, sir?
Okay, so here's the thing. This one, the difference is that The Sims is not a game that comes out with a brand new version every single year. It also
come with a new DLC like every single year.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you can continue to play the base game without having to buy the. Yes, would it be fun to add college life or go to vet school or whatever? Raise your toddler instead of your kid going from a baby to like I don't know, a 12-year-old or something like that. They give you options, but they're optional. That's the big thing. They're optional. They're not every single year you got to buy this game, and if you haven't bought the game in the past 2 years, you can't play with your friends anymore because we want you to pay $60 every single year so that we can rearrange a couple names and a couple digits around.
The Sims, how my life could have been better.
Yeah. So, I mean, I probably won't jump back into it, but I know that there's a lot of people who, they will probably come back. Yeah. I think you're seeing like a resurgence. Of course, new shiny thing, and it's free. At least the base model is. So, yeah. Good on you. Oh, God, this is making my skin itch. Good on you, EA. Oh, God. I said it.
I felt a disturbance in the force.
Oh, Jesus. Now, for those out there who are the Sims 4 players that may not be on PC, have no fear. It will be free on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and Xbox One. So I
didn't even know it was on the consoles.
Yeah, it is. To me, The Sims shouldn't be on the consoles, but to me, The Sims require a mouse and keyboard. There are certain games that require mouse and keyboard, and they just don't feel right with the gamepad, in my opinion.
I originally thought the same thing about Civilization 5 until I played it on the Switch. It actually worked really well on the console.
Until you get late in the game.
Well, I mean, CPU limitations aside, yes.
But anyways, so if you're interested, October 18th, man, they're going to do a special event on their Twitch and YouTube stream, and after the 18th, the base model is free.
I'm so excited, I just can't hide it.
I could tell, Zealeus, I could tell. Okay, so let's go from free to play to another free to play that's coming up in October, but with caveats. And what I'm talking about, of course, is the ever impending release and switchover of Overwatch to Overwatch 2.
Whoa!
Now, I talked about this. I don't know if I talked about. Here's the fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. The vast majority of the topics that I talk about on the Thursday Night Hangouts, I don't really recall. I know that I've talked about them, but I don't remember when I talked about them. So
we talked about them at some point in the last 8 years.
Yeah. Well, in the last month. I know that. Okay. Anyway, so October 4th is the switchover date for Overwatch 2. It's the official launch and also the official sunsetting and, I guess, crashing into the ground for the original Overwatch.
I still need to log back into the OG Overwatch to get all my loot boxes.
They'll automatically open for you on October 3rd.
I don't trust the system. I don't trust the man.
Anyways, so it is technically free to play. They are changing it from, was it 6v6 to 5v5? Yep. They have a plan where they are going to go to a seasonal schedule, which means every 9 weeks they will have a new season. And in that season, there will potentially be new characters, new maps, new game modes, a shit ton of skins, and maybe, just maybe, at some point, PvE.
What? PvE?
Now.
You mean the original reason that they're doing Overwatch 2?
Yes. The original reason, which has now been pushed into 2023 without a solid 2023 date. They just said that, be excited, in 2023, PvE is coming.
So you mean 2024?
Possibly, potentially. Who knows? It's a secret.
Oh, secrets.
What I can tell you is that at least when it comes to the first season, what you will get is 3 new heroes, 6 new maps, over 30 new skins, a new battle pass system, new mythic skin, which is going to be like the new legendary skin, and a new game mode. Now, some of you may have noticed or read the fact that not all heroes will be immediately available when Season 1 starts. So on October 4th, there is going to be at least one character that's not immediately available for those who are playing free-to-play. And that character, and I'm going to butcher her name, I'm sure, is Kariko. So, Battle Pass.
The new support.
So, Battle Pass. This is really free-to-play with ever-evolving, cyclical content. You are going to have this list of challenges that you will have to complete. And as you complete, you will unlock fun little doodads to personalize some skins, maybe some special emotes, at least one character or hero, whatever you want to call them. But there are two different versions of this battle pass, and I think that most people who have messed with this kind of challenges system understands that there is a free path and a premium path. The premium path, as of right now, it costs you 1,000 Overwatch coins, which is roughly around $10, I believe. And so on the free path, there is 20 unlockable things that you can get when you complete these challenges. However, if you go to premium, there is over 60 additional things that you can unlock when completing challenges.
It's basically 80 levels.
Yep, there's basically 80 different levels, challenges that you have to complete, And of course, you can to show your true, fandom and support and love of the game. The more you play, the more you unlock. I don't know if there is going to be a time. I'm assuming there's maybe a time limit. No, you can't do a time limit though.
It's every 9 weeks. I mean, the Battle Pass season is lined up exactly with the 9 weeks that you'd already mentioned.
Right. So I would assume that, most of like the cosmetic stuff and whatever, you got to complete it within that 9 weeks. But it would be a real dick move if you didn't get around, you didn't, for some reason, there was a 9-week period where you weren't able to do as much. And so you didn't, even on the free path, you weren't able to unlock the hero. And so now the hero is forever lost. They wouldn't do that.
Well, no, they're very clear that, like, in this case, if you don't unlock the new hero, like in season 1,
that
there'll be challenges in future seasons to retroactively unlock those heroes.
Okay, well, there you go.
So that part, they'll make sure you can still unlock.
Right, but then if you want to have the fancy, shiny stuff that you may have missed out on, you could buy it in the store. There are no loot boxes this time around. There are it's basically a shop that shows you exactly what, if there's something you want that was available in a previous season, you can go to the shop and buy that exact thing. It isn't I buy a box and then randomly I will get something from the past. The first season starts October 4th. The second season will start December 6th. And for this time only, there will be an additional hero and map that will become available in season 2. In future iterations, it will be every other season that will give you a map, and they haven't really outlined how often they will pump out new heroes. And of course, at some point in future seasons, in 2023, at some point, there will be PvE.
Yep. So, I mean, it seems like a pretty somewhat standard battle pass system among other games, like Valorant has it. I mean, Destiny 2 has a battle pass system almost identical to this, where, you get loot upgrades depending on your premium versus free versions.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's also, if you're part of the premium battle pass system, it's $10 every 9 weeks.
Yep.
So from a battle pass perspective, if you're going to do it, it's not all that terrible. They do lean in heavily into FOMO, the fear of missing out, because during that 9 weeks, you almost like really need to grind out to get those 80 levels, or you've in a way like psychologically lost what you paid for.
Right. No, and a system that anybody who's watched the Ultra Confusion Twitch stream or YouTube or Facebook, Legends of Runeterra have these timed events where you have X amount of days. It's not 90 days, or it's not it's not 9 weeks. It is usually like a month or something like that. And in that time, you have the free path or the premium path. The premium path will get you some shiny versions of cards, maybe additional stuff, your gamer icon, maybe some extra points to unlock other stuff. And I, being the crazy person that I am, with 19 days to spare, have unlocked everything in that. However, the event does have a different progression that's also happening that isn't on that path. It's another thing entirely that it's basically, it forces you to play specific types of specific characters in order to unlock, really cool stuff. And that is also time sensitive.
Ooh.
Yep.
That I'm not a fan of.
Well, it's like get to level. Basically, so it'll be like a new champion. I'll just say Kane. defeat a 3-star Path of Champions quest with Kain.
Okay.
You start at 0 stars. There's no way in hell you're going to, even at 2 stars with Kain, if your level is low, because the stars are separate from your level. Stars basically give you advantages when you start. It basically, it's like boosters. Like there's one that gives you, once you have 2 stars, most champions, you have 1 additional mana. So you're, instead of starting off 1, you start with 2. So you could start faster, but it also gives you advantages. With Kain, it's, I believe, if you attack and you survive, you get +1 to your attack every single time you attack. So you basically could grow your characters.
Yikes.
There's other ones where another character, Jinx, which is one of the originals, every single time you play a card or discard a card, it does 1 damage to the enemy nexus, which is a beautiful thing, especially when you're in trouble. But the thing is, you go on these half-star, 1-star, 2-star, all the way up to 5-star quests, and each one, of course, increase in difficulty. The more experience points you level up. As you level up your character, you gain special items or boosts to the cards that are in your starter deck. Like you could gain some discount. Certain card that would cost you 4 mana, once you hit level 20, is now 2 mana or something like that. So gotcha. I totally understand the Battle Pass thing. I'm addicted to doing the premium shit every single when I play Legends of Runeterra. This is why I had to stop for like a year and a half, and now I'm back on it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what going back to Blizzard, what their future plans are for future seasons. How often they're going to release heroes, what new game modes they are thinking about in the future, and how often they're going to add new game modes. They are going to do like limited time events. I think there's some kind of like Halloween themed one that they're going to.
Yeah, Junkertons is coming back.
There you go.
I saw that.
But the really cool thing is, and I'm the way that they phrased this makes me I don't know. It scares me a little bit, and that is that they like cross progression, play, progress, and access your content seamlessly across multiple game platforms. To me, it sounds like I could play, if I'm on my PC, I could play someone who's on the PlayStation 5. But at the same time, the way that they worded it kind of sounds like I can take my account onto PlayStation 5 so I could play other PlayStation 5 people if I want to. Or if all of my, my progression is saved across all the different platforms I have Overwatch 2 on. Instead of, I'm on PC, I want to play someone who's on the Xbox, who's also playing someone on PlayStation 5. It worries me just a wee bit.
It does seem like also, because I was reading a little bit of what the CEO was saying earlier about the Battle Pass, and just kind of reading between the lines, it's very clear to me that Blizzard / Activision felt like there was no more money to basically be made from the original Overwatch model, basically. They feel
maybe
like,
if they added new content once in a while.
I'd say it was very clear that they obviously stopped even making content for it. And I think it's very clear that the publishers have basically decided by and large that this is kind of going to be the way going forward for free-to-play games.
Right.
It's kind of the Battle Pass system. I think that's what we're going to see more and more of as time goes on. Kind of gone or going away, especially for the always online games, are the days of, buying Overwatch 1 for $60 and now you have it. Obviously you could buy loot boxes, but most players didn't. Most of us just bought for $60 and hey, we're happy. I was happy. I played for years with my original purchase. I was very happy. But I think the developers have decided that, if they're going to milk it, and I kind of get it in a way because it's kind of. So, did you ever play a game called Sim Tower?
Yes.
So, I remember Sim Tower. Basically, your two main ways of making money was you either built commercial or residential.
Yep.
And you very quickly learned that building houses was a terrible strategy because you made all this money up front, but you didn't have recurring course of income with the commercial of that ongoing monthly fee that you charged them.
Yep. So
you started transitioning from housing with the upfront cost to the commercial with ongoing. And I feel like it's the same exact process that the developers are seeing where, they got all that money, upfront money with Overwatch 1, but as the sales started to dwindle, they saw no incentive to actually invest money in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also kind of a double-edged sword with the Battle Pass, where they've kind of beholden themselves in a way. Like they've come out and said, this is our Battle Pass system where, we're going to release X, Y, and Z. And I think my prediction is with Overwatch 2, if they do what they say they're going to do, Overwatch 2 will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It'll do well as another FPS if they keep to that. But they've also kind of set themselves in a way now where if they don't hold to that, and all of a sudden the Battle Pass season doesn't have, a map or a hero,
yep,
that's where it'll crash and burn. But as a player, in a way, it actually kind of gives me hope.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we all saw with Overwatch 1, like after a while, 2 years ago, writing was on the wall, that there was really nothing coming out for it. Where with Overwatch 2, I think it sets itself up from an income stream perspective where the developer also knows they have to release this content to keep that gravy train going.
Right.
So in a way, it also does kind of benefit the ongoing gamer to now you're setting a system that is going to have ongoing content at least. I know it further perpetuates the idea of, fear of missing out perception and always online, you're always licensing, you never own anything. I totally get that. But in the a truly online always game, like Overwatch or your other games like Valorant and those games, it kind of makes sense to kind of require the developer to continue to put out content.
Exactly. I agree.
And I think from reading Overwatch, the more I did look into Overwatch 2 and kind of how it works, it actually seems like a pretty reasonable system. With the new characters, like say to your point, like I know you can either pay the $10 to unlock your character basically day one, or you can grind it. But regardless, in a number of modes, including the not unlimited, having a brain fart of what the style is called. No limits.
Mm-hmm.
In workshop game modes, you'll have all characters unlocked to you. So there's still game modes where all the characters will be accessible to the players. My one big hang up from a competitive player is like myself, I never played DPS.
Mm-hmm.
I hate DPS. And from what I've read is, let's just say season 3, they released a DPS player and I never played that player. So season 6, I decided I'm going to play Overwatch. If I unlock that character after the fact, from what they've initially said, I now have to play X number of hours as a DPS role to unlock that character and therefore play competitive.
Huh?
Which is like, oh, that's interesting.
Always something.
Always something.
I just want to be excited about the Atlanta Rain again, damn it.
Are they doing Overwatch League for Overwatch 2? I don't even know.
Yes. No. Okay. They've already started. They've already made the transition, from my understanding.
Okay.
Now, of course, I have not paid a lick of attention, but from my understanding, they've already switched over to Overwatch 2.
There you go. Which makes sense because Overwatch 1 is dead.
That's been dead for a while, but it'll officially, dead. October 4th.
Yes. Jeff Kaplan rolling over in his bed because he's not in his grave.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, we'll see. Hope it does well. I hope it keeps being fresh or stays fresh. And hopefully those bajillionaires who bought all those teams actually start seeing the profit that they thought they were going to.
I'm okay if they don't because they're already bajillionaires. So
Right,
whatever.
but I think it would be really cool to the idea, the concept of having, a location locked team that you could, cheer for would bring esports, kind of in the spotlight. Unfortunately, because Overwatch didn't really build on anything, that spotlight, that light bulb went bad fast. But who knows? Who knows?
Meh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop. I want to pause for just a second to thank some amazing individuals. They are the friends of the show. These are the people who are our patrons through Patreon. And they deserve some amazing love and attention. So without further ado, I will start with the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. If you're interested or need more information, go to indiecluster.com. That's INDIECLUSTER.com. Now, the next shout out we've got to give is to a friend of the show who we met at the convention that shall not be named. And he is an amazing individual. And so we give the shout out to Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously Wet Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/NoodleBoyMedia. Now, I do want to say that since Noodle Boy has been moving up in the world, his convention schedule has gotten a little bit more restricted, but have no fear, he's still doing a ton of conventions. He's still doing an amazing job, and you still need to book him if you go to one of his conventions because he is phenomenal.
Nice.
The next shout out we have to give is to the man, the myth, the legend, that of course is Dr. Ryan of Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. Also, I have an appointment with Dr. Ryan next week, which I'm super excited about because I need some adjustments in my shoulders. The next shout out we have to give is to the amazing maestro himself who helped create the intro and outro for Alta Confusion. I'm talking about Crosspad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like Alta Confusion. Crosspad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. The final shout out we have to give is to an amazing individual who's been one of our longest supporters and patrons. And that, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both a development team and system administration team working with satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings, and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com. That's AGILEAXIOM.com. And if you're interested, that amazing individual has also written a book. It is called Is That Agile? Common Processes for Development Teams. Now, since we told you about the friends of the show, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to point out that you too can become a friend of Alter Confusion of the show. And in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to become an Alter Confusion patron. Ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion survives on the love and support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, supporters, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. Currently, we have 2 tiers. That's 2 tiers at your disposal that you can become a part of. There is the $1 tier, that's $1 a month or $12 a year tier, and what that will get you is the ability to take part in patron-only posts to help shape the future of Alter Confusion, as well as early access to all of our playthroughs. Now, if you want to get a little bit spicy and jump up from the $1 tier to the $5 tier, which is $5 a month or $60 a year, not only do you gain everything at that $1 tier, but you also gain the ability to have your name or organization added to our Friends of the Show for every single Thursday night hangout. For those of you who have been to our Patreon page recently, you will notice that there was a poll that was just put up, and that is the idea or thought that maybe Alter Confusion will start putting some sort of swag for you amazing people. Yes, a physical item. I don't know if it will be at the $5 tier, perhaps it'll be its own separate tier. I was talking to one of our very good friends of the show. He has his own Spooky Dudes podcast, and he does I think it's like every 5 months or every 6 months he gives swag to his supporters. And so I was like, we should probably do that as well. So if you want to be a patron for Alter Confusion, go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/altered confusion. Now, of course, something that is very exciting and near and dear to our heart is something that Alter Confusion participates every single year. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 11th year straight, Alter Confusion will be participating in Extra Life. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best. Game. To help sick. Game.
Are you sure about game?
Yes, game. To help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So, if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Alter Confusion. Now, I do want to point out, and I'm going to have to go off camera for just a second, but I do want to point out that because of the amazing individuals who have already donated to the Extra Life, or the Alter Confusion Extra Life Drive, we have already reached 2 of the, tiers or goal markers. Milestones. There we go. Milestones. She's almighty. And I've got them here to show you, so give me 1 sec. Let me grab them right off camera. Hold on.
What could it possibly be? I am way too excited to know. What
all right. Now,
is the awesomeness?
For those out there who remember, last month there was a push for tabletop gaming, and if the Extra Life participant were to raise $80 within the month of August, they would get the Extra Life dice tray. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Extra Life dice tray right here. It is super, it is swanky, it is amazing.
Nice!
Now, not only did we get that goal, but also because of that $80, we actually hit the $200 milestone. And for those of you out there who do know what that milestone is, that milestone unlocks the t-shirt. So I also have the Extra Life t-shirt. I'm not wearing it, but here it is right here. I have to say, I like this design better than some of the previous year's designs. And I, of course, will be sporting this all the time. Or all, was it November? I can't remember. Is it November 6th or November 3rd? Or is it neither of those? And I'm just saying the wrong date.
It's in November. That much I know.
Yes, it is the 24-hour Gameathon that Ultra Confusion has participated.
November 5th.
November 5th.
Is the official date. Oh, they can really do it anytime.
Yes, you can do it anytime, but the official, like everybody's doing it, is November 5th. And I, of course, Ultra Confusion, will be participating November 5th for 24 hours straight. I don't, of course, we still got a little bit of time, October, November. So we got like a month and a half to try to figure out what games I'll be playing. Of course, as usual, I'm almost 100% sure that at some point Zealeus will be joining and gaming with us for a couple hours. So be on the lookout for that. Apparently,
the top thing on Extra Life is the Magic the Gathering group at $771,000, $450.
Yep. Well, I mean, the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that Extra Life is more than just video games. Extra Life is gaming.
True.
They have a huge, initiative for collective, CCGs, collectible card games. They have pencil and paper RPG people. They've got board game guys. They have video game guys. They've got PCers. They got consolers. Basically, it allows for different types of gamers to fundraise for an amazing thing. So,
and by the way, currently you're ranked number 21 in the state of Georgia for fundraisers of Extra Life.
And last year we were the single top fundraiser for Children's Healthcare Atlanta.
Nice.
At $275. So, booyah. Anyways, okay. I feel like there was something else. Nope. Never mind. It's gone. All right. So let's jump back into the news. Now, we talked about Overwatch 2. We've talked about The Sims 4. We talked about the craziness that is of the Tales of Symphonia remaster being stuck at 30 frames per second, which is absolute craziness. But let us talk about... So back in the early 2000s, there was this cable channel called G4 TV. It had XPlay. It had like a ton of different like gamer-centric content. And of course, it unfortunately kind of fell off and got switched over to more of like a manly man frou-frou, like almost like a GQ channel. And but they brought it back last year. And it was gonna be on cable. It was also gonna be on streaming platforms. Unfortunately, as of this week, somewhere between 20 and 30 staffers have been laid off. Now, one employee stated that they don't think that the amount of content that the company is trying to produce is going to be feasible after laying off so many people. But here is the real wrinkle. And to be honest with you, the parent company is Comcast, so this doesn't really surprise me because Comcast, they're all about the bottom line and screwing people up the kazoo. Please don't terminate my internet until we're after the show. Thank you. That is that there were staff members who had come in to do their live shows, not knowing anything, only to be corralled by HR, who then the reps from HR individually met with all these people, and some of these people were laid off on the spot. Now, that's not to say that they didn't get like a severance package or anything. Those affected would be receiving anywhere between 16 weeks and 6 months of severance based on their tenure with the company. And this is all, I mean, the resurrection of G4 TV, it's been less than a year. And it's kind of sad that you know, they were able to bring back some of the original, hosts to do this thing, and it's just sad to see it. This might be, the bell tolling for it to just go back into the grave again. I mean, yes, they're still producing content, but for how long?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the gaming content you're finding nowadays, it's going to be on YouTube or Twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of where we're at for that kind of content.
Right, but the thing is, they were on both cable and on streaming, but I think that because of their absence for, I can't remember how long, their true absence has been, I think that the individuals who grew up with G4 have truly moved on, and they can get that type of content. They've probably already been getting that type of content from different YouTubers and Twitch streamers. So for G4 to re-enter it, it's more of like a novelty. And for those out there who go, I might check it out. I personally loved G4 when I was in college. That being said, since it's been resurrected, I haven't watched a single thing. I haven't. I haven't had the time. My time is spent basically streaming international shows, anime, weird ass documentaries, and playing games.
I think nowadays the way for those guys to like basically make a profit is almost like work out a deal with like Twitch streamers, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I will sponsor you, Mr. Happy, for I make out numbers. I have no idea if they actually are, for like $10,000 a month, and we get a cut of your proceeds or something along those lines.
Right.
Like almost like a record label type of deal. Because trying to jump in, you can think about it, because a lot of those Twitch streamers who make money, like, it's a one-person shop. It's not like you have like probably possibly their spouse helping out too. But it's not like they have like a whole company, and also, probably because it's a Comcast company, then they also have all the exec levels and the C levels and all other stuff who have to justify their existence. Which typically, unless you're like one of the huge names, the income structure just isn't set up that way for your streaming services.
So it launched in 2002 and then shut down. Let's see here. Where's the date? 2014. So, I mean, it lasted 12 years, and then it got relaunched 2021. But that's 7 years of, and in the digital world that we live in, 7 years is like 70 years. I mean,
7 years is kind of really the rise of always on Twitch, if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's really when the huge streamers and the big names have really come to be, that monetization. They were almost like ahead of their time, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like that happens sometimes. But yeah, trying to come back now is probably not going to work out. I think, as we're kind of seeing.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but now I do remember the OG G4, because it was one of the old ways to get like mainstream video game news. It was really the only way back in the day.
Yep. There was X Play, there was Attack of the Show, there was hell, for a bit they did they even had American Ninja Warrior on there. They had Web Soup.
The old school version.
Yeah, man. The screensavers. I mean, there was some really good content out there, but unfortunately, it just, they took too long off, to be honest with you. But hopefully they can restructure, and some version of G4 will continue to thrive for old time's sake, but we'll see.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not optimistic, but that's just me.
Yes. Now, speaking of things being resurrected. Let's talk about the fact that for some of you out there who know of this thing called Dungeons and Dragons,
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes,
What's that?
Dungeons and Dragons, a pencil and paper RPG,
Ooh.
that was created by Dave Arneson with assistance to Gary Gygax. Come at me, fools! I know it's going to piss a lot of people off, but it's the truth. Dave made it, and Gary just marketed it. And then Gary tried to take all the credit. Boom! Mic drop. Walk away. Anyways, the original company that published Dungeons and Dragons was a company called TSR. TSR, of course, went belly up. Wizards of the Coast bought up the rights to Dungeons and Dragons, along with a shit ton of other things. And so time went on. Now, TSR has reformed with the help of Gary Gygax's son, Ernie, in 2019. And they are basically marketing this new game that they're calling, let's see, how do we want to, an original, TSR original role-playing game called Star Frontiers New Genesis. Now, without going too much into all the legalese, basically Wizards of the Coast are now fighting with a lawsuit against TSR LLC because the Star Frontiers, the system that they use is very much like Dungeons and Dragons. This, I'm not going to get into all the things, but
It uses dice.
it uses dice, so it's got to be Dungeons and Dragons. Damn it! It's a D20 system, so it's Dungeons and Dragons.
They should have used cards like some other game I know.
That's called the Fate system, by the way.
I was actually thinking of Capers.
No, I know, but that's all. But Capers
what
use
it's
the Fate
actually called?
system.
I don't know. I didn't know that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's called the Fate system. Anyways, but here is the problem. Star Frontiers, New Genesis, has a couple of issues that because TSR is basically, strutting its stuff, saying, we're the true creator of Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons being attached to this property, for better or for worse, and it's a lot worse right now. The problem is that there was a test build of Star Frontiers that was leaked back in July, and in this test build, there are a couple of cringeworthy things in it. The first thing is, and this is an excerpt from the test build, races in Star Frontiers New Genesis are not unlike races in the real world. Some are better at certain things than others, and some races are superior than others. Okay, so, that sounds a little iffy, but let us move on. There's also, apparently, in the documentation, a quote-unquote Negro-like race that is described to be a sub-race in the game to have average intelligence with a maximum intelligence rating of 9, where there is a quote-unquote Norse race with a minimum intelligence rating of 13. So basically, this kind of feels like futuristic KKK all of a sudden. What the hell is going on?
Without really knowing the developers of the series,
Yeah.
I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt in that they're not outright racist, in that it's not that they intended to create this system with, like in this very specific example, of obviously equating Negroes with having lesser intelligence than the Aryan master race is obviously what we're getting at.
Right. Aryan, i.e. Norse.
Maybe I'm being naive and hopeful in this world. I don't think that was necessarily their intent. They probably thought like, hey, we've created back in the day old D&D races, which we know had, pros and cons to your races. I mean, there's certain classes that were class restricted by your race, and there's absolutely in stat bonuses given based on your race.
Right.
But the reality is, for better or for worse, I'll let you make up your mind. In 2022, that's just not how it is.
Yep.
And you just have to be aware of the social world that we live in nowadays. And in this case, having a Negro race with a lesser possible intelligence than your Norse race is just flat out a terrible and not good idea. And that's just, whether or not that was their intent, and I'm not going to, I don't know what their intent is. That's just not the right thing to do regardless. And it's just not going to end well.
No. But the thing is that this is the reason why Wizards of the Coast are having to fight this, is because there's this linkage between Dungeons and Dragons, TSR LLC, because TSR was the original Dungeons and Dragons. And so people, there are going to be those people who are going to draw the parallel of, oh, well, Wizards of the Coast must be okay with this, because this is very Dungeons Dragon-esque, and this is, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I understand, CYA, my friend. CYA. Cover your ass. And I, too, would love to give the company the benefit of the doubt, but I'm kind of having a hard time.
I guess maybe that's where I was coming from, was giving the benefit of the doubt. But I think they're going to have a very, very much uphill battle in this case.
The thing is, look, here's the thing. You're absolutely right. When it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, there are different races, and there in certain races, as reported, there are some are better at certain things than others. Absolutely. You are not going to see a very agile dwarf. I mean, you could probably, get enough stat bonuses, whatever, but your base model of a dwarf is not going to be anywhere near as agile as an elf.
I mean, it depends. Can you throw a dwarf in the game?
Does that add to does that gain agility points if he's being thrown? I don't know. But no, seriously, I think one of the biggest issues is that because Dungeons and Dragons has been around forever, and we've kind of, we've grown up with this. We have this picture of this is what an elf does, this is what a dwarf does, and then you have someone brand spanking new introducing all these races and not being very careful with the type of words that they're using. Like, when I think Norse, I am not going to think African American. I'm not going to think Asian. I'm not going to think Indian. I am going to think white people.
Honestly, I think Norse. So in the context of what you said, obviously went a different route.
Yeah.
But if you just came to me with Norse, I would actually go with Viking.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right. But have you seen an African American Viking? I mean, I'm sure there are those out there, but I'm
actually trying to think if they actually had anything in the Viking series. I don't think they actually had any African. I mean, it would make sense that there's not.
Right.
But there may have been when they traveled like on the Silk Road, because they did that in later seasons. It's possible there. But like in Norway, I mean, it's Norway.
Right. I think
in the day.
I mean, here's my thing. I understand that as time has progressed and people have a better understanding of, what is right and what is wrong, that there are certain things that were produced in the past that are very racially insensitive. Then there are other there's other like knee-jerk reactions. I'm thinking my immediate thought goes to this phenomenal movie that could not be made today, but it's a phenomenal movie. Is called Blazing Saddles. It could not be made today, but it's still an amazing movie. It does not need to be burned. It does not need to be banned. Mel Brooks is a genius. He's smart. He worked. He sees no color. He sees no, gender. he basically went off of stereotypes and then showed the very most unlikely of heroes who became the hero in Blazing Saddles, which, by the way, there is actually a remake of Blazing Saddles, sort of. It is an animated movie. Damn it, I can't remember what it's called. I want to call it Paws of Fury. I could be wrong. But basically, instead of being in the West, in like, like a Western setting, it's more of a samurai setting where it is a world filled with cats. And there is a dog who becomes the head samurai for this town, i.e. the sheriff. And it's very, very much like Blazing Saddles. Also,
Blazing Samurai?
Yes, maybe Blazing Samurai. It also helped that Mel Brooks was actually part of the team who did this. Let me see. Hold on a second. Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. So I was right. Paws of Fury. It came out 2022. So it's not Blazing Samurai.
The one I'm seeing, though, is Blazing Samurai.
Is it got two different names? It might have two different names.
It's like with cats and dogs?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe, yeah. Maybe there's different names. I don't know.
Anyway, so the lead character is being voiced by Michael Cera, but it's phenomenal. But that being said,
I mean, you think it is a different era because everything is so over analyzed. I mean, think without getting, I'm not going to get deep into it, but look at what happened with the casting of Ariel.
Yes, The Little Mermaid.
Absolutely fucking stupid that it is that people are in arms in it. I mean, wow. But you take, to your point though, you take what's happening with that, and then you try to put Blazing Saddles as a new release in 2022.
Yeah.
And the thing that sucks about it is we're ending up with the Dredges of the Earth, like Scary Movie 37, which is just dumb, stupid humor without actually being good.
Right.
And that's the thing that Mel Brooks movies did so well is they took also kind of almost, they did those things really well. I mean, Liquid also, I know it wasn't a Mel Brooks movie, but Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Same thing with some of the characters where you had blackface going on.
Yep.
But it was done. It's also in how it's done in the context of those movies.
And I think that's it though. I think that in order to, let me back up real quick. I am not an IP owner that's being associated with a potentially racist entity, and we lost Zealeus. But that being said, I think that an individual needs to do the research and understand the context of what the property is before they say something. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we live in an era where everyone has to basically shit out news every 30 seconds, and there's no such thing as fact checking anymore. God damn it, there's no fact checking. If we get it wrong, we retract it. We retract it, But part of me wants to give this company the benefit of the doubt, but part of me, I don't know. I'm still a little saucy when it comes to who actually created Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah,
I can see that. It's complicated.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of it. It's all complicated. And I think part of the hard part is it's hard to have those difficult discussions without people having basically knee-jerk reactions.
Yes.
Part of it.
I agree. And like I said, I am not the IP owner of something that's currently through, some means being kind of connected to a potentially racist situation. So I understand what Wizards of the Coast has to cover their own asses.
No, I get.
I understand that.
Yeah.
That I understand. I'm not saying that Wizards of the Coast are in the wrong. They need to. They need to. They got to fact check before they say something.
Well, they've also had done plenty. I mean, the last show we did together, wasn't it them who were doing a retraction for one of their contents for something race related?
Yes. For one of their campaign modules for, ironically, Dungeons and Dragons. But so that I understand. When So, but I guess we'll see where it goes from here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have unfortunately reached the end of our show. Yeah. But it has been a pleasure to have a co-host and not try to do the show solo. Like last week was a little rough with not being able to have that back and forth. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Ultimate Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you the camera our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Ultimate Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.